Okay, welcome everyone to the Windmill Community Weekly. We'll present everything the team has worked on, and so will be a good way to get up to date with the latest changelog and also ask questions at the end. There won't be a question at the end of this one, but every other session there's a moment of QA for the community to ask questions. So I'll start. I've been working on a pretty big feature. It's a force layer for Windmill, which is a full code UI builder that you should see on my screen. It will complement. It's not going to replace, but it will complement our current app builder, which is drag and drop. So maybe you've heard about v0.dev or a lot of the AI code builder, and they're getting very popular because they combine the power of code with the convenience of AI. And so we're starting with doing a full code UI builder, and then second, we'll add the AI layer on top. One of the things that was important for us is to give a live UI experience. So that you could develop apps directly inside the browser and inside the Windmill platform. So if you can see my screen, I have basically something that looks a lot like VS Code on the left. It's multi-file and it supports React, Svelte, and Vue. And there is a bit of something surprising, which is at the bottom, you also see an editor. And so the cool thing here is support basically any code on the front end. And this is for building your front end code. And to run flows and scripts and everything in the backend, you would do it in the bottom panel, like as normal runnable that you decide to trigger. The way you decide to trigger them is using this specific import, which is runbg, which know the shape of your inline script or flows, and you can pass input directly. So right now, if I were to, on the right, to basically put a new text and press me, as you can see, I've done this Svelte code to just say on click, run the background script. It's actually calling the script here that you see below, and you go to debug run. Like in the app editor, you see that it's actually doing a job in the backend. You could use this to run flow or anything, and there's more helpers function. All of this is basically in windmill.ts, and it basically is generated with all the types depending on the type of your script. If I were to modify it, you will see that it adapts automatically. You can also use full CSS. So now I do background red, and you see the UI automatically adapt, and it holds true for anything. It takes a few seconds. You can use any dependencies, and the way you decide on dependencies just to modify these dependencies, you just have to. So, for instance, if I were to say I want Windmill client 3.4.0, not sure it actually exists, but it automatically will detect it and will reinstall it, and you will see the node module, so you can have auto-completion. It works in Svelte. It works with React 19. And it's so flexible that, for instance, you can even do inside app navigation. So here I just have buttons where I'm doing navigation, and when it will be a full code app, this is something where you will have the URL in the current page in the URL, so you can do full navigation in your app. And the way I do it is it's not Windmill specific. It's just the way you would normally do it in your React, where you are reacting to hash changes. So we think it's going to complement very, very well our current drag and drop builder, because basically now you can choose between doing drag and drop for simple apps and full code apps for more complex apps. And it will also work locally. You can do full local development. It's normal code, nothing specific to Windmill, so everything should work normally. And now I will pass the mic to Alex.
All right, I'll share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. So Yeah, it looks like it works. So this week, I was working, or specifically last week, I was working on the release of interactive Slack approvals. Has been in the works for a bit, but now it's part of the latest release. And compared to before, now Slack approvals will not just redirect you to the approval web page, but actually be interactive from a Slack perspective, so you don't have to change context. So as we've seen here, I started a flow with an approval step where we basically use the interactive capabilities of Slack to fill in forms and missing information in a flow. So here I have a required field. Actually, let me demonstrate that. If I don't provide it, I get this warning. So let me fill in some stuff here. We see different types like numbers, enums, and a date picker, for example. These are all supported. If I resume the flow, we'll see that basically these values are passed along. What we're using here is really just another step. So if you add a step, approval, Slack, you'll see here request interactive Slack approval. Both Python and TypeScript are working. You can also directly use the Windmill client. So the Windmill client has a function here, request interactive Slack approval, where you can use, for example, if you have more complex approval logic, such as returning dynamic enums or arguments, or even if you have multiple approvers to different Slack channels, you can basically use that helper. So yeah, that's live. And along with that, my work was around quality of life improvements in our UI mostly. So one of them is the ability to basically use advanced GitHub markdown syntax. Here we have this tip component. We have a collapsible details section and also HTML. So let me actually show you the markdown for this. So this is the tip. It's following GitHub's markdown specs. Here we have the details section. This collapsible we've seen before, and here just the HTML. So that will render like this. So you can have, when you deploy deploy flows, scripts, or any field actually using GitHub Markdown in Windmill will benefit from this improvement. And last but not least, we have workspace colors. So if you're working in an organization or in a team that has a lot of different workspaces, and some of them are, for example, more critical than others, you have the ability to now pick a color, specifically useful when it's collapsed and you don't really know what name the workspace has. When it's collapsed, you'll see the color. So this can be set in workspaces, general, and basically using a color picker, or enter your own color, or just pick randomly a color, as well as when you create a new workspace. So if you add a new workspace, you can say enable a color, pick a color, and then create the workspace. So yeah, this will be very useful to distinguish, for example, prod workspace from a dev workspace, and you know, you're not accidentally doing stuff you shouldn't be doing in a prod environment. Cool. Yeah, that's it from my side. I'll stop the screen share and next one can go.
Yep, I think it's me. Oh. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you have to restart your Discord.
Yeah, I'll take over if you want while you do that.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So the newest integration we're adding on Windmill is a Oracle database. So let's see if I can share my screen. Yeah, I could. Perfect. So just like any other SQL language, you will find it here. Note that this is an enterprise feature, so only enterprise clients will be able to use it. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. It's just like the other SQL languages. You'll have to define your database resource. So here it's just like a user password and the connection string, and then just run your SQL queries. It's unique constraint violated, so I'll just change this ID. There we go. And this is a table I created. You can do multi-statement and just like define your variables up here, ping your database, just the usual. So yeah, that's about it for me. Did you solve your issue, Hugo?
Let me try again.
Let's see.
Yeah, cool. So what I'm going to show is next trigger. It's part of our ongoing effort to add support for multiple triggers inside of Windmill, in particular about event streams. So we did WebSockets, we did Kafka, and now we're kind of continuing this with Nats. So it's like the other triggers. You first have to basically create a resource that connects to your NAT server. So in that case, I'm connecting to a local server. You specify the subject you want to listen to, and then you simply pick a script, and then you can save. So it will start listening it soon. Might take up to 30 seconds. Oh yeah, so it's already connected, cool. And then you're not seeing this part, but I'm now sending a message saying, hello, demo. Okay, it's sent, and so we should see a new message appearing soon. Oh, I put the wrong subject, sorry. Let me fix that. Yeah. Ooh. So we see here the message, hello demo. It will be passed as a parameter called message. And we see that it's here. What's also cool is that we support Jetstream. So Jetstream is like a persistence level, functionality of NATS. And what allows you is that in case the trigger disconnects or there's some network connectivity issues, that thanks to this stream name and consumer name, the trigger will get back the messages it missed. So yeah, I think it's pretty common to use it in critical environments. Yeah, that's all for me. Guilhem, you want to go on?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I have two things to show you today. The first one is a rework of how you change the inputs of a flow, and the second one has to do with how we can prototype triggers and test them using a feature that is called capture. So I'll go quickly through the new input UI. So now we have a more simplified view, and here we have the classic editor that enables us to edit the different inputs. And we also have other options that were there before, but the UI changed. And so just a quick reminder, we can design the inputs based on previous runs, for example. Here is a run. Or we can also use first input, or like all the other options here. I invite you to just check them. So this is one change of how we can modify the inputs of a flow. And the second topic I would like to present to you is the topic of capture. So basically what capture is a way to test the triggers and get the payload out of it. So let's say, for example, you want to have a flow that is listening, that is triggered by a webhook. So you would like to test your webhook and see what the payload looks like. So you can here go in the capture sections, and you can start listening to a capture. So let's say, for example, I want to try this one. I can send a capture, and here I see automatically the payload. So this is useful if you already have a flow and you want with like everything set up and you want to test that everything runs. So you can see that your payload trigger the flow using the test. The other way it can be used is also when you are, for example, let's say you are you want to listen to a Kafka topic. So so you are configuring connect to the Kafka server here, and then you want to listen to the messages, but you are not sure how the payload will look like. So so here you can see the payloads you get, and then you can design the flow using the payload directly, so that your inputs match the payload of the Kafka trigger. That's pretty much it for me. And now Ash, you can take up.
Maybe while it's loading, Ash, you can maybe explain what you're gonna showcase.
If you're speaking, we can't hear you, Ash.
Nor we can see you. Maybe Ash, you want to quickly reconnect? So while he reconnects, I'll just explain a little bit what Ash is going to showcase. So Ash has been working on doing a multi Python version support. So right now, basically the version of Python is hard-coded into Windmill in the Docker image. So you are either using 3.11 or 3.12. And the issue with it is that we want scripts to be deterministic. And so if you have deployed it with 3.11, it works well with 3.11, we don't want to suddenly update it to like another version. So it's hard for us to just change it in the container the way it's hard-coded. So what we need to do is to have every Windmill. So if you want to be able to update the version of Windmill throughout time, we need to have a Windmill capable of handling multi-version of Python. And so this is what Ash has been working on, and he's going to showcase it and explain it in a bit if his microphone and camera work.
Mute.
Ash, if you want, I can explain and just you show. We can see your screen, so I can do the explanation while you showcase what you're doing. So Ash is showing that in the normal version of Python, this syntax would not be correct because it's running with 3.11. And so this is a showcase that what he's showing is with 3.11. But by introducing a little bit of syntax, we're going to show that the version of Python is actually dynamic and depend on the annotation that you put on the script. So now this specific, we are not pre-installing every version of Python ever on every container. So as for dependencies, the first time we see this kind of annotation, then the container is going to cache that version of Python. It has to be understood that there is a implicit global version of Python. It's 3.11 by default, but you can actually set it. So if you wanted to start saying that every new script is going to be with 3.13, if no annotation is put, then you would set that in instance settings, and every new script deploy would be with that version. It was very important for us to make sure that that would not impact currently deployed script. So when you deploy, the version of Python is actually stored in the log file, and that means that regardless of what are the implicits, things that have been previously deployed are always running with the version that they've been deployed with, and ensure full reproducibility. And so we think this achieves best of both worlds. You have you can use any version. You will be able to update the version as the default version as we get Python release new versions. But at the same time, you have complete reproducibility and no surprise. Things that have been working in one fashion are going to continue to work in a fashion because they're locked forever in their log file. And this is a lot of work. It's been helped a lot because we are now running on top of UV, and so UV is doing the most of the crux of the work. But yeah, this has worked great and allow us to not be stuck on 3.11 forever. And I think that's it. Maybe Anne-Marie, you want to say a few closing words?
Yeah, sure. So on my side, I've been mostly working on like internal Windmill stuff, but for the community, maybe one quick stuff I can show. If you see my screen, yeah. Now on the changelog page, so we still have like the new features that we've recently released, like the main ones. But you guys can now see like the coming soon section with like main project we are working on, and that will soon be released on Windmill. So it's public. Have a look on the changelog page in our website. That's it for me.
Great. Well, great. Well, normally we would do QA at this time, but because we're actually making up for the one we didn't do last week, we're not doing any QA because there will be a QA in 2 days. It's also first most professional weekly so far, and we've upgraded and got more experience with the way to do this live, and you can expect this level to be maintained and even improve over the coming weeklies. And we hope to see many of you come and ask us many questions. The future is bright for Windmill. There is very, very many exciting updates to come very soon. So have a good week, everyone.
Bye.